What up, everybody? It's your boy Agent, and I'm back. I know I've been gone for a minute. Sorry, had to take care of some things, get some things arranged. Been a crazy summer, crazy spring, fall. Sports is back. It's been a crazy year, but it's time to get back in that mode again, and I'm back for the long haul, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, everybody who follows my page and follows me and showed me love. Once again, I appreciate it. But I'm back. Yes, I'm back. Football season is upon us, and one thing I'm talking about is Michigan Wolverines, and I'm back here to talk some Michigan Wolverines. As I'm recording this, we are 9 days away from the season beginning. Yes, as Michigan will kick off at home against Fresno State, August 31st. But a couple of things and notes I want to get arranged for the topics of the day. We're going to talk about this Michigan depth chart and what I think it's going to look like. Also, I'll give my prediction for the schedule, what I think you'll finish, and then I'll give you some quick updated recruiting. But I will be back on the Bet Daily now. Won't leave you guys saying I'm sorry about that. Got to get better with my consistency, but it's your boy Agent, and we're back. I want to give everybody, they love to do this. Is my passion. I love to do it. I want everybody to support and show me love, so I appreciate it. But let's get into it. Yes, let's talk about Michigan's depth chart. First, we're going to start with the offensive side of the ball. I talked about it in the spring after the spring game. Let's see what's going to happen. It's crazy. Now it's camp battles. The biggest thing we're going to talk about what Michigan lost on the offense. Who did they lose? Some of the notable names. J.J. McCarthy, first-round quarterback drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. Blake Corum, drafted by the L.A. Rams. Roman Wilson, drafted by my Pittsburgh Steelers. Cornelius Johnson, drafted by the Chargers, and A.J. Barner was drafted, I believe, by Seattle Seahawks. So those are some of the notable names on offense, and that's a lot of important pieces in leadership that Michigan lost on offense. But let's talk about this. The biggest question coming to this camping as they wind down, who is going to be the starting quarterback? Now, Jack Tuttle was granted another year, but I don't think he's the guy. So what I'm hearing is it's between Davis Warren and Alex Orji. And I think Alex Orji has to win his job, no question about it. The biggest question mark, and a lot of experts are saying, a lot of people are saying, Alex Orji, we haven't seen him throw the football, and that is correct. He has one career passing attempt. Yes, one career passing attempt. And that's all I'm asking is he does not have to be J.J. McCarthy. He just has to be efficient. I expect Michigan to run a lot of more read options, a lot of running the ball, and that's what they like to do. And I don't think that changes under Sharon Moore and company. Alex Orji can win his job. He doesn't have to be a superstar quarterback. He has to just be efficient and good. And when they stack them boxes, he has to be able to throw the ball and be able to beat them single coverages. So we're gonna see what happens, but I expect him to win the job, and I think he has to be good for them to be successful. Now we look at the running back spot. As you know, Michigan does a good job of recruiting and adding running backs. Donovan Edwards is back for his senior year. Yes, he had a great national championship game. Before that, his season wasn't going good, but I expect him to get a load of the carries to see if he can be a superstar back to rely on. And he's on, as we all know, he's on the cover college for EA Sports game. Great on the game, by the way. Also, Khalil Mullins, back for his senior year. He's the power guy. And now the question is who gets that third spot at running back. It's between Benjamin Hall, sophomore, and then the guy I really like, true freshman coming in, Jordan Marshall, who I think can make impact, and I think he's going to steal some of these carries. I think he's going to be a stud. He's the future star of this group. And you also got guys like Micah Campagna, freshman, Cole Cabana. So they're deep at the position. So we'll see what happens. Also, a receiver, like I said, we lost Cornelius Johnson, lost Roman Wilson, who was the heart of this team. I think the guy that becomes a new Roman Wilson is Tyler Morris, a junior. He had a great touchdown where he burnt the Bama defense in that Rose Bowl. Frederick Moore, a sophomore as well. Samaj Morgan, a sophomore. Samaj Moore is a slot guy, gadget guy, but he's super explosive. We have a Marion Walker who we got out of the transfer portal. He was originally at Michigan but transferred back. He adds some size to this room, which Michigan desperately needs at the position. C.J. Charleston, a transfer from Youngstown State. He's about 6 feet tall. We also got Kendrick Bell, who's Ronnie Bell's younger brother. Peyton O'Leary, who might get some catches in the backfield. And the freshman Amarion Stewart and Channing Goodwin. Those guys I think are probably more redshirt guys this year. But the thing is, like I said, Marion Walker has to play big this year. I think we need some size in that receiving room. I love what Frederick Moore does. I love what Tyler Morris is doing. But get a guy that can go over the top, beat you over the top with some height. He's like 6'3". So that's the thing. I think we have some talent there, but Michigan is the one position I think they haven't recruited well or got out the portal well is receiver. So those are things we're gonna have to see. So the Fred Morris, Tyler Morris fits more of the Roman Wilson profile, and Cornelius Johnson, that needs to be on Marion Walker. So we'll see what happens. And then at tight end, as we all know, We got the first team preseason All-American and Colston Loveland, who will be maybe not a first round pick, but probably as high as he go, a second round pick, third round pick in that range. But I believe he's the best tight end in the country. And then you got a guy who I think is developing well, Marlon Klein, who I think will be a good compliment. Then you got Zach Marshall, sophomore, and then you got Brady Prescorn, who's a freshman coming in. So there's some good depth at that position. And then, as we all know, we talked about it before, at offensive line, replacing every starter. And these are the projected starters. A left tackle, Miles Henry, he's got some snaps before. A Stanford transfer. You got Josh Preby, he's a transfer from Northwestern. Then you got Raheem Anderson or Greg Crippen fighting for that center spot. Raheem's been here for a while, Cass Tech guy, local Detroit guy. Then at right guard, you got a guy who's waited his time in Giovanni El Hadi. He's waited his turn. I think he'll be good. And Andrew Gentry is the right tackle, who I believe will win the job. 6'7" guy who I think has a lot of potential. I think this line has potential. Now the key is how long will it take them to get it together and get in sync and figure out how to do it. We don't have a lot of time after Fresno State. You got Texas coming in, so we'll see. But I think the offense, I think it'll be better if Alec Orji, like I said, can be good. I think this offense will do what they do. Sharon Moore's not going to go away from the Michigan way, that way Jim Harbaugh had, but they want to be physical. They want to punch them off. I think that can continue. And if you're an offensive lineman, why not come here? Why not be great? Two guys on this offense I think will break out this year. I talked about Tyler Morris, but the guy I'm looking out for is Frederick Moore, 6'1", 181. It's a speedster. Only had 4 catches for 32 yards this year. I think he's an explosive and breaks out this year. Throw the screen to him, run reverses for him, run jet sweeps. I think he's going to be explosive. I think he's going to have a great year for Michigan. And also, Jordan Marshall, like I talked about earlier, he was Gatorade player in the state of Ohio out of Archbishop Moeller, a powerhouse out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I think this guy's going to come in, and like I said, he's going to be a star of the future, and I think he's going to get some decent carries this season coming up. Now, let's switch to the defense, and as you all know, Michigan, the heart and soul of Michigan is that defense, man. We lost a lot of guys to the NFL just in general. A couple notable guys, Junior Colson, Michael Barrett, Josh Wallace, Mike Samerster, who was the heart and soul of this Michigan team, had the ceiling pick 6 on Michael Penix in the championship game last season. Chris Jenkins, Keon Sabb, he ended up transferring to Alabama, which was crazy. Didn't see that coming, but, in the world of college football and NIL, that's just how these things work out. Jalen Harrell, defensive end, who was good his time here. So we lost a lot of guys, but guess what? This defense still is loaded, still has some talented guys that some people don't even know about. They have the ability to possibly have 3 first-round draft picks in Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, a pair of defensive tackles, and Will Johnson, who I believe is the best, maybe the best player in college football, but definitely the best corner in college football. So let's go with the projections, what I think this defense is going to be. Now, like I talked about, at defensive tackle, we got the duo of Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant. Studs, both studs. Nothing more I can say. They cause havoc and disrupt everything. Defensive end, we got Rayshawn Berry, who's battled injuries. He's been a solid player for Michigan. A guy right behind him is Inu Ida. He's a guy out of Texas. He didn't play that much last year, but I think he's going to be an important depth piece, and I think he can become really good. He was ranked in the 247, top 247, so he's a guy with some talent. At edge, you got a pair of guys. Derek Moore from Baltimore has been a really good guy, really consistent. I think he'll play NFL player. Josiah Stewart was a transfer last year from Coastal Carolina, stud. I think these guys' numbers will go up even more this season, especially after Michigan lost with Brady McGregor and so on. Not the linebacker position, the Mike linebacker replacing Junior Colston is a transfer. We got Jay-Sean Barham out of the University of Maryland. I think he's going to be a stud. He's fast. He's athletic. He can cover the field. That's what Michigan likes at the linebacker. Brian G. Murray, the new linebackers coach, he's going to love coaching this guy. Also at the will linebacker, you got Ernest Hausman. He was a transfer last year from Nebraska. He's coming into his junior year. He's going to make an impact. I love what Michigan has as a linebacker. Super athletic. I think these guys are going to be huge and make an impact. Now, at the cornerback position, we know we got Will Johnson, number 1 corner in the league. Now, the question was, who's going to be Michigan's number 2 cornerback? And I believe it's going to be redshirt sophomore Jair Hill. He only had 4 tackles last season, but I love his length, 6'2". He was a highly recruited guy at Kanaki, Illinois. I think he's going to be huge for Michigan this year. He's going to be I believe he's going to be out Jaden McBurrows or Amir Hall for that spot. Amir Hall is a transfer out of University of Albany at the FCS level. Michigan added some guys. So at the nickel spot, we're gonna have Zeke Berry. He's going to his junior year. I think he's gonna make a huge impact, and I think he's gonna be huge. He's playing more so than Mike Samer still. He's a guy out of the De La Salle, out of California, a really big time primetime school out there. And at safety, you got Makari Page, 5th-year senior, and Quentin Johnson, a 6th-year guy who came back and surprised Michigan, especially with the injury to Rodmore, heart and soul, number 9. He had this ceiling pick in the Ohio State game against Kyle McCord. So you do. So we got him back. So Michigan, the thing I can say, they're deep at safety, even with losing Rob Moore. You got Brandon Hillman, a sophomore, Wesley Walker, transfer from UNLV, Jacob Owens, a freshman, and Jaden Mangum, a transfer from Michigan State, which we didn't see that coming with with the transfer portal in NIL. You see guys going from Michigan State to Michigan. You see guys leaving Bama to go to Auburn, vice versa. From Trevor Etienne, running back from Georgia, from Florida, transferred to Georgia. So you never know, but I think they'll be fine at safety. They got a lot of depth right there, just getting these guys experience and getting them to play. And I think Lamar Morgan, the DB coach, will have these guys ready to go. Like I said, Michigan's got a whole new staff with Sharon Moore going into his first year as the new head coach. Two guys who I think break out on this defense are, I'm talking about Jason Baum, the transfer from Maryland, 37 tackles last year, 3 sacks, 1 interception. He played well against Michigan when Michigan traveled to Maryland last year and almost lost that game. Mikey Sanders still saved us to win that game. Also, Jair Hill, like I talked about, he's going for that number 2 corner spot, which I think he wins. He had 4 tackles last year in limited action, but I think he breaks out and has a phenomenal year in his defense. Will finish in the top 10, I believe. They won't be, I think, as good as last year's defense as a whole, but they'll be legit and they'll keep Michigan in games until they can figure out this offense wants to keep them in games. Now, for the schedule, as you all know, a 12-game regular season schedule. Michigan went 15-0 last year, but I think the floor for Michigan is 9-3. I think you absolutely have to go 9-3. They go anything below that, I will be highly disappointed. But I think in order for them to get into the college football playoff, they must finish 10-2. 9-3 maybe possibly, but it depends on who they lose and who they beat. But if you look at their schedule going through, I'm just going to keep it plain and simple. The biggest games on their schedule are second week of the season, September 7th at home against Texas, November 2nd at home versus Oregon, a new member to the Big Ten, and then of course the big one of them all at Ohio State, November 30th, Thanksgiving week, that Thanksgiving weekend, and last week, Saturday in November, looking to go four in a row against Ohio State. Win one of these games, I believe they have a ability. The Texas game is going to be tough because O-line, they've got it synced. They got to see how well it is. Oregon's going to be a well-oiled machine. Ohio State's arguably the best team on paper right now in college football. They kind of did what Michigan did last season, so we'll see. They think if they can get one of those wins, I guarantee they'll get in at 10-2. 9-3 is going to be iffy. So if you want to get in, you got to go 10-2. But 9-3 is a possibility. But I'm gonna say they finished 9-3. They're projected to finish 4th right now, so we'll see if they can prove it wrong. I mean, it's logically, you got to think about it. I'm not a normal Michigan fan. It's not a slappy. I just call it like it is, but logically, it's only natural for them to take a step back. I want them to be at the point where they lose guys and they don't rebuild, they reload, and I think they're starting to aim towards that. So that's it on the roster. Now, real quick before we get out of here, let's talk about recruiting. As we all know, the bloodline of college football is recruiting. They did a good job in the 24 class. The 25 class is coming along with 17 commits thus far, and I base my rankings off 247, which I use a lot. And according to 247 Sports, Michigan has 5 guys ranked 100 or lower, so that's good. That's the most they've had, I believe, since the 2017 class. Right now, as it stands, a couple more guys they got to get, but we'll start with the guys, and I'll put it up on the screen so you guys can see. Ivan Taylor, a safety out of Florida, ranked 41st in the country. And by the way, he's the son of Ike Taylor, former Steelers cornerback. Other guys, Kanoa Watson, a safety out of Washington, D.C., same high school as Caleb Williams, ranked 43rd in the nation. Then you got Andrew Marshall, wide receiver out of the state of Texas, ranked 66. He just committed to Michigan 6'1". He's got some speed, physicality. He fits the Michigan wide receiver profile, and the guy the highest ranked receiver since Darius Clemens in the 2022 class, who committed from the state of Oregon, and he's since then transferred. And you got Nathaniel Marshall, a defensive lineman out of the state of Illinois, ranked number 80, a big get for Michigan. Then you got Andrew Olesh, a tight end out of Pennsylvania, ranked 84th in the country. Loves the Michigan offense. Could be like a Colston Loveland type And there's a lot of more other guys in this class that keep building. They're actually in for a 5-star guy out of the state of Kansas, Andrew Balboa. So hopefully they can get him and keep building. Like I said, the lifeblood is recruiting. Keep putting that talent into Michigan's, like they said, more of a development program than some of these schools like LSU or Ohio State or Bama, but they got to start getting more consistently 5-6 guys in the top 100 and then getting more guys that can develop it. It even help your talent more. Like I said, you want to get to the point where you reload, you don't rebuild, and keep this culture coming. I think Sharon Moore is going to continue this culture, and I think Michigan's going to be good for a long time. And it has the days of the Brady Hoke era and such, but I think this program will continue to win and be successful, man. I'm excited for this season. I know you guys are. We'll be coming back on a daily basis, like I said, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me. We'll be back soon. Hey, it's your boy Adrian, and I'm out.